The Morbius trailer drops, Sony skips E3 again, the new Smash Fighter has been revealed, and more Star Wars news drops, and plus, a whole lot more on You Heard with Nerds.
Welcome on into the podcast. I'm Brett.
I'm Dorian.
And this is You Heard with Nerds. We got some nerd news for you guys. For those of you who need some MCU news, we got it for you. The Morbius trailer is released.
Yeah, MCU news in an unexpected place here.
Yeah, because from what I understood about Morbius, it had nothing to do with the current MCU.
Yeah, well, I mean, and this is supposed to be essentially in the same universe as Venom here, which Venom had no ties whatsoever to the MCU. So, this is pretty interesting.
Even though Sony did want that, but Disney pretty much shut that down because they did shoot stuff with Tom Holland, like back when the Venom movie came out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and then basically Marvel was like, no. Which I think made sense for... I think it was just going to be like a little cameo Peter Parker. Now, it's pretty much confirmed Morbius is in the MCU in some way, shape, or form. And that is because of, they showed some graffiti art in the trailer of Spider-Man and said murderer on it, which has a link to the Far From Home movie, potentially. Yeah. And it also, at the very end of it, spoilers ahead, it's a stinking trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, but
right.
Michael Keaton is back as Vulture.
Yeah.
Setting up a potential Sinister Six scenario, or just a villain team up against Spider-Man. Potentially, if they really want to link this, it could be the next Spider-Man movie. The third Spider-Man movie could be at least 3 or 4 villains. I don't know if they'll get all of the Sinister Six. I think it'd probably be pretty hard to share the screen with 6 villains.
Yeah. Well, and historically, Spider-Man movies that have had multiple villains in their movies,
they have not done well.
They typically don't do well. I think Spider-Verse might be the only exception to that rule here.
Yeah, but I think the way they're doing it, they're doing it like a normal Marvel movie. DC, listen up. I'm about to drop some knowledge on you.
Yep.
So here's what you need to do. You need to explore your characters
before
idea. You do a team up.
Imagine that.
You need to delve into why I should care about this person. It's just called good writing. That's just basically what it's called. It's called good writing.
Yeah, no, honestly.
So, but yeah, I think the Morbius trailer was cool. When I first heard this news, because Morbius is a villain from the Spider-Man universe, the Marvel universe, and it was a villain I really didn't care for growing up. He was in the cartoon. I remember he was in a couple comic books, but he's basically just a vampire.
Essentially, not like a vampire in the traditional sense.
No, he has power. I don't remember all his powers, but
yeah.
He's prototypical, but he's got enhanced strength, stuff like that.
He's a science-grown vampire, if that makes sense here.
And this even took it a step further. There's in the trailer, at least, it alludes to he has a blood disease, and he's trying to find a cure.
Right.
And that is why how he becomes Morbius, basically.
Yeah.
But it seemed almost like he was doing a ritual in the
cave.
In the cave that gave him maybe some kind of abilities to where now he's jacked out of his mind and has these powers, and then you get that classic Morbius look from the comics.
Yep.
Looking back at the camera with full on blue skin and
red eyes,
and the teeth and all that. But what do you think about this trailer?
So I would say I'm much more interested in this movie now than I was when I initially heard about it, just because the fact that it's connected to the MCU, I think, will make this more than just a regular, this is a kind of like a monster movie where some dude is trying to do something, ends up does a science experiment, goes horribly wrong, and becomes essentially a monster here,
Yeah, we've heard that story before.
We have heard that story before. I think it's interesting that now we are kind of saying okay, this actually will have some ties to the MCU. Now, in terms of will it impact the MCU on a big scale?
No,
probably not. I think this will be a lot more self-contained. It'll probably be more of the opposite. The MCU will impact these series of movies.
Yeah, I agree.
More than the opposite here. But Yeah, I mean, my thought is it kind of almost seems like this was probably part of that deal that Sony and Disney made back in I think it was like July or August or somewhere around there, where they decided to like team up again, do a couple more Spider-Man movies and all that. I feel like their solo villain movies needed to be included in this whole process here.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously this benefits Sony.
It does. No, it most certainly does.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. When I don't think it'll be as ingrained in the MCU, regardless of them using a Spider-Man picture, basically, or a Vulture cameo, because you have to think the Spider-Man movies are still Sony movies,
right? Exactly.
In association with Marvel, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all those actors work for Sony.
Yeah,
and so it wasn't a huge surprise after I thought about it that Michael Keaton was in it.
Yeah,
because I was like, oh well, I guess. He was never in Avengers. He was never in those movies.
He wasn't even in Far From Home.
Well, no, yeah, because they were all overseas pretty much for the majority, except that last bit at the end. But
yeah,
I think that it had to be part of the Sony Marvel Sony Marvel deal. I think until we get these villains in a team up, we could pretty much count on it almost being their own contained universe that shares Spider-Man as far as references go.
Yeah, I think, you and I were talking about this earlier this week. It'll probably pan out probably similar to how the Marvel Netflix shows were connected to the MCU, but you never saw Daredevil or Luke Cage show up in like any Avengers movie or like really any references to that.
Right.
But they would reference like things that were happening in the MCU, every now and again here.
Right.
So I think
subtly. Yeah,
subtly. So I think that's probably how it will be. It'll be just kind of loosely connected, just not like, super ingrained as we've come to know from, previous MCU movies.
Yeah. And I think they can do this. I mean, we've seen Spider-Man movies, and Venom takes place on the West Coast in San Francisco.
Right, completely like separate from whatever is going on over East, which is pretty much like where most of like the Avengers.
Yeah, they're all
movies.
pretty much on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see kind of where this takes place and how maybe we get a cameo from
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy as Venom.
I would imagine.
I'm trying to really figure out who's gonna be the protagonist and antagonist, because this is a movie about Morbius, so I'm wondering how they're going to play him. Like,
I kind of feel like, so far they haven't really shown like any type of like villain in terms of like somebody that Morbius is fighting against here. So this could just be a movie that's
could be like a monster movie.
Yeah, it could be just be a movie that's ballsy enough to just say, no, the villain is the main character here, and this is just kind of his story.
Because they really humanized Eddie Brock in Venom.
Right. Well, they made Eddie Brock.
He was a hero.
Yeah. Anti-hero. Yeah. They really pulled from, I think, like kind of more the recent Venom arcs from the comic, where he's like, kind of like Agent Venom, where he's like, going around and like doing stuff for like, the good of humanity or whatever here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's interesting. And Jared Leto's no longer in the DCEU.
As far as we know, yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, honestly. Speaking of DCEU, this is not in our show notes, but did you see the finale to Crisis on Infinite Earths?
So I didn't watch it, but I heard about what happened.
I heard about it too. I saw it.
Did you see? Spoiler alert, or?
Yeah, spoiler alert for those of you who are actually watching the Flash and Arrow crossover event.
Yeah.
I did not watch the episode. I just watched the clip where Ezra Miller's Flash
shows up.
And it's like, hey, I'm Barry Allen. They like say like their names at the same time. They're like, whoa.
And they're both checking out each other's super suits.
Yeah, and I think Ezra Miller's Flash kind of makes fun of Grant Gustison's Flash. He's like, it's so breathable
and comfortable
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was kind of a cool nod, but he's like, I told Victor it was possible, which Victor is Victor Stone, aka Cyborg.
Yes.
From their universe. So I'm wondering if he's gonna be. I don't know if this had any nods or anything towards the movies. But, is Cyborg maybe going to be in Flashpoint potentially, or the new Flash movie?
Because there was rumors, or at least talks about Cyborg and Flash being sharing screen time on the Flash movie. At least originally when we first heard about it, it was going to be kind of like a buddy cop movie almost here. But that was
still possible.
It's still possible, but that was years ago when I think we first heard these details, and obviously things have changed with DC's lineup here. So who knows? But yeah, also Oliver Queen died. Yeah, crazy.
I think that everyone kind of knew that was coming, though.
I think so too, especially considering how this was going to be Arrow's last season. They were only doing 8 episodes.
Well, kind of, because now they're potentially doing that show with his daughter.
Well, and the Canary shows. But I mean, that's still, is that going to be still under the name Arrow, or is it going to be
I think they're probably
spin-off show?
Spin-off show, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So,
which I'm why?
I don't know. I mean, so yeah, but going back to that whole Barry Allen thing here with Ezra Miller and Gustin Grant, I mean, it's definitely interesting for one, but it's also one of those things where it's just okay, is this just a little Easter egg just because you decided to go all out for this? You brought back Robin from 1966 Batman here.
Yeah,
you got Kevin Conroy.
I think it was just that. I don't think it has any implications to their universe because obviously it's a separate Earth.
Right.
The only thing that really mattered was basically Supergirl's Earth, Black Lightning's Earth. I don't remember exactly what Earth is what.
Yeah.
Kind of they merged. So and they've always well, yeah, that's what I heard is that the Justice League has always been around. And that in this universe that they established from the Crisis on Infinite Earths, so they've always been working with each other.
And so that might be referring to the movie universe, possibly.
No, it was their Earth.
It was their Earth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research on this, and we'll get back to you guys. But basically, it seemed like when that convergence of the different worlds happened, because they're still separate. There's a multiverse essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think Batwoman's and Arrow's.
Supergirl.
I
think Black Lightning.
I think they're all some of those are still separate, or
no, those ones for the TV shows that we have on the CW.
Oh, they all converged.
They converged.
Okay, not just Black Lightning and Supergirl.
No, okay. I'm pretty sure Batwoman now too. I think all those are on the same, just for that added little crossover flair every once in a while.
Sure, yeah.
Metropolis is essentially across the water from Star City.
Okay.
Which is kind of like Gotham.
Yeah, Gotham City. Which, I mean, essentially Arrow was unofficially a Batman TV show.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We have our theories on that. But anyway, so I think that, I'll have to do some more research on it, but it's interesting to see kind of them do all of that. I think it was kind of, I'll have to just watch the run of Crisis now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, you might as well. It's free on CW's website.
Yeah.
So
all right. So up next we have some Star Wars news.
Yep. It wouldn't be You Heard with Nerds without a little bit of Star Wars talk.
We've always got Star Wars here.
Mm-hmm.
So the director for Jurassic World, Colin Trevorrow, is that how you say it?
I have no idea.
He was initially supposed to be the one that penned and directed Episode 9 for Star Wars.
Yep.
Now, that is not the Star Wars we got. We got a J.J. Abrams version of that / Disney version of that because of just Disney wanting to be what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And this is potentially a reason why Colin left in the first place, was that Disney wanting to kind of meddle a little bit more than he wanted.
Yeah. So just a heads up, we will be talking spoilers for Episode 9 because we are going to be going into the script in detail and compare as to what we got in the actual movie.
And we don't know how legitimate this leak is.
No, it comes from a subreddit for Star Wars leaks here. So so take it with a grain of salt. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I think it's interesting and worth talking about here.
Yeah, so the news comes from a subreddit. Lucasfilm has not come out and said, or Disney or whoever has not come out and said this is confirmed or denied.
Yeah.
Same with the Colin Trevorrow. It would have been called, this is I think the coolest part of this whole news.
Yeah.
Duel of the Fates.
Which
which is a song
Yep. It's
that plays
probably
in episode 1 when Darth Maul ignites his double-bladed lightsaber.
Is it the best song in Star Wars?
It is the best song in Star Wars.
You think? Yeah.
Period.
I mean, yeah. I probably might have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, so I just like the name.
Yeah. No, it's really
Duel
cool.
of the Fates.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of walk through just a couple of points here and then talk about kind of what we think.
Mm-hmm.
So Hux would have been Chancellor of Coruscant.
That's kind of odd to me.
I know. I'm like, wait, so is that his new position within the Empire, or?
I would assume so, yeah.
And Coruscant is like, I mean, for those of you who don't know, and I think they alluded to this in the script, it was going to be like a rundown Coruscant because of
the
because
First
of
Order's influence. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like that. Possibly, yeah.
Because it was pretty much a thriving area during when
the prequels. Yeah,
the main Jedi temple is on Coruscant,
Yeah.
that we see in the movies.
Yep.
No Palpatine.
Yeah.
Palpatine would not have been in this movie.
Which, I mean, it kind of confirms my theory that they never planned on bringing Palpatine back from the beginning.
No, I don't think they did either.
Yeah.
Kylo is searching for Palpatine's master, Tor Valum, which was apparently what Vader was supposed to do in the event of Palpatine's death. That was a contingency plan.
Yeah.
For keeping the Sith alive, basically.
Yeah, this was like Palpatine's plan if Vader didn't kill him. I don't think Palpatine was expecting Vader to kill him, so he had this whole contingency plan in place according to the script.
Yeah. Force Ghost Luke was supposed to have a larger role, which would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
And then the emphasis on Jedi Sith being outdated, and that was heavily hit in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, no, it was. Like, let the past die, kill it if you need to, I think is what the quote from Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So, and
just where Luke was, and
yeah,
because Kylo Ren wasn't a Sith.
No,
for all intents and purposes.
Not in the traditional sense. No,
Yeah.
I mean he definitely. I mean, obviously,
Rey wasn't a Jedi for all intents and purposes, I guess.
Yeah.
At least not a. I mean, she wasn't like. Luke was more of that gray Jedi, like that we kind of teetering. He's still a Jedi, but I mean, Rey eventually becomes one. But they could have went a different direction with her, I think, in Episode 9, and they probably would have if it's saying that there wasn't going to be like these defined Sith and Jedi roles.
Yeah,
potentially
it would probably be like a bigger spectrum of like what is Sith and Jedi kind of type thing here or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Rey's not a Palpatine.
Yeah.
And is no one.
Yep. Just like how
like
she
Last
was
Jedi was set
Last
up.
Jedi. Yep.
And I do think that this idea would have been better. I don't hate the idea she was a Palpatine. I just think it was really out of left field.
Yeah. And see, that's where I think you and I disagree with a little bit. I mean, I think, yes, her being a Palpatine, you could probably have tied her to like somebody, more organic or better, I feel like. But again, they were kind of backed into a corner on that one here. But I don't like the idea of her being no one, especially.
Well, she's not no one. She's just someone who the Force needed.
Right. I'm just saying in terms of like her not being connected heritage wise to anybody, because essentially Force Awakens teased the idea that there's something big and special about her heritage here. And then Last Jedi completely said, yeah, no, we don't care about that.
Yeah, and I don't even think if JJ were to go back, I don't think she would have been a Palpatine. I think she would have been something else. I think she, like a Kenobi
or Skywalker or something.
100%.
Skywalker
would have even made sense.
It would have possibly, yeah.
Because she hadn't met Luke yet, like the very end of it.
Yeah.
Think about that, I guess. But anyway, it's revealed that Kylo killed Rey's parents. Yeah,
which I think that's supposed to be the big plot twist of this movie, as opposed to like Kylo's telling Rey that she's a Palpatine.
Yeah,
here.
like I killed your parents.
Yeah,
type of thing. Which he's 10 years older than her, so that's possible for sure.
No, it most certainly is.
She was what, like?
She was probably like 8 in that flashback?
Maybe younger, 8 or younger,
8 or 6, somewhere around there. Yeah,
somewhere. So he was probably he was like in his teens.
Yeah. So.
Final battle between Rey and Kylo was on Mortis.
Now, you know a little bit more about this than I do. Mortis is like a planet that's like supposed to be pretty significant in terms of the Force or something like that.
I don't know because the name doesn't sound familiar to me.
I think when I was
Kraken.
when I was reading about it, or at least like reading the initial article that broke out about it, it said like it was mentioned in the Clone Wars as like a very like
Okay,
planet that's heavily influenced by the Force or something like that.
So Mortis was the place they went. It wasn't referenced in any of the movies or anything like that. It was referenced from the Clone Wars TV show. And that's where we get the brother and the sister, who are basically the embodiments of good, the dark side and the light side of the Force. It's basically a planet that's just purely Force.
Interesting.
And so that would have been really interesting. Like, how would they have tied all that in? Like, are you getting these godlike creatures there? Are they the embodiments of these new? Is he going to embody the son and she embodied the daughter?
Yeah.
Who the daughter was light, the son was dark.
Yeah.
Their father was in between.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially considering
balance.
How like this movie supposedly would have wrestled with the traditional ideas of Sith and Jedi here. If they go back to like, the place where they began, they might, revert back to like a more traditional way of the Force before like the Jedi and Sith ever came to be here or something like that, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the other things is Kylo does not get redeemed in this movie, which I thought was interesting.
I think that's probably the thing I like most from this supposed leaked script, just because I kind of feel like, when I first watched Force Awakens, I was like, okay, so we're kind of starting on the opposite end in terms of like, where he's at. He's, essentially a good guy who is wanting to turn bad or like, shake off like any of the light side from him.
Yeah.
And I thought like, okay, this would be really cool if they actually went the whole 9 yards and really explored him, just like, delving deeper and deeper into like being a villain here essentially. But
so just overall thoughts and opinions on this news.
So I think it definitely seems like more in line with the story beats that we got in Last Jedi here, for one.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do like that Kylo. I do like the idea that Kylo is not going to be redeemed, just because I think that's a more interesting story, because I feel like we've already seen that story before.
Oh, yeah.
With, Return of
Vader.
the Jedi. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I don't like Rey not being connected to anybody with like any significant heritage, just because if they didn't tease that in Force Awakens, then I'd probably be okay with her being like essentially like, nobody that's connected to like, any significant family member from Star Wars here. But the fact that we got it teased and it was like, like supposed to be like this big thing that people speculated for like 2 years, and then like Last Jedi comes around and says, yeah, just kidding.
They took a big old poop on it.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think overall this would have been a more interesting movie, not necessarily a better movie per se, just because, it's on paper. It all depends on execution.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been a more interesting movie just based on like story beats than what we got in Rise of Skywalker, because in all honesty, Rise of Skywalker is Return of the Jedi, just with like some extra bells and whistles attached to it here. I mean, pretty much the same story for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the only reason that that you're thinking it would be more interesting is because we didn't get it. Like if this were the movie that would have been made and we got script leaks of a J.J. Abrams, I think it would be like there's more intrigue revolved around this because we didn't get it.
Well, and that's one of the I think that's one of the criticisms that I had about Rise of Skywalker, was just because there was no intrigue, whereas this, it's kind of delving into like a little bit more new territory for Star Wars here. And I mean, if you put like essentially the script of Rise of Skywalker, the movie that we got, and then this hypothetical Rise of Skywalker, I probably would say the one that we didn't get is probably the more interesting movie of the two. But, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Excuse me. I don't think this movie would have been better maybe elements like them incorporating more of the prequel stuff, like going to Coruscant. Having that be more of a thing, maybe bringing back some people from that may be still around.
Yeah.
It's going to be more nostalgic, but that's it, I think. Like, the only reason that they didn't do that, I think, was, the only reason they'd go there is for nostalgia's reason. Like, if they went to Coruscant, it would have been cool to see it because we saw it we saw elements of it throughout the prequel movies.
No, I mean, it was a really big staple of the prequel movies.
Yeah, and then so one of the questions I have is, who's Tor Valum? Because from my understanding,
it's Darth Plagueis.
It's Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
And so is Tor Valum his non-Sith name? Like, I mean, is he, or is Plagueis his non? Like, his name's Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, Darth Plagueis.
So
Tor Valum could have been like his original name, just like how Palpatine is not, the Emperor's name. It's Darth Sidious here.
Right.
As Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader and all that. But no, I think it's I think they could have probably been trying to lean a little bit more into that, like just say find Tor Valum, and everybody's like, well, who's Tor Valum? And then like it's revealed that it's Plagueis.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the title's the best part of this news. Duel of the Fates.
I mean, we would at least got that song back.
I know.
Which did that even play in?
I think that we got a version of it,
but it
wasn't the original version of it. It was like a new version. So
yeah, I mean, and it was I don't know. I legitimately don't remember. It did not stand out to me. So so probably not that great. But
yeah, more Star Wars news.
Mm-hmm.
Old Republic, Disney Plus show, rumors.
Yeah.
Now, so these rumors come out. I mean, that's all they are, is rumors, because like a lot of people are thinking we're getting a High Republic movie next, which is set 400 to 500 years before the prequels.
Yeah, roughly.
Old Republic would be 1,000 years before, roughly, maybe more.
Would it? Because I thought Knights of the Old Republic was like 4,000 years before the.
I mean, the Old Republic spans quite a while. I think they said it'd be 2,000 years. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
So the reason, so the Old Republic Disney Plus TV show, they're gonna put out potentially to set up another series of movies.
Yeah.
So we're getting High Republic and Old Republic potentially.
There's that interconnected theory that you got going on here. If that does shake out, yeah.
Yep. And so the High Republic would come out first with young Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we look at the Old Republic, though, it's going to be more world building, less on big characters like Revan or Malak or big events that happen. They're going to potentially rule out Knights of the Old Republic storylines for the show and may pick them up for the movies, which I think makes sense.
No, I think it does. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic, I feel like, is something that deserves its own movie. Like probably maybe 3 or 4 of them here.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot in there. You have the war with the Mandalorians. You have Revan's and Malak's turning to the dark side. Malak betraying Revan, and then basically everything else that happens. I won't get into spoilers just in case if you haven't played the game here, but it's a banger.
Yeah. So Old Republic. I mean, what we could get. And I don't know how they would do this, is like every season be like a different like its own contained storyline. So we start 4,000 years ago with like maybe a main character from the KOTOR games, because I can't remember. I don't remember the second KOTOR very much. I don't know why. The first one would be interesting to explore. Like, what's her face? I can't remember her name.
Bastila, I think is her name.
The chick who's like your friend, but there's something weird about her.
The one with the yellow lightsaber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if it's been a long time since I played that game, but I think it's Bastila is what her name is here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Anyway, and then we get like later in KOTOR 2, like more of the Jedi Sith, battle, like the more of the like Sith versus there's way more Jedi that you're talking to, and stuff like that, I guess, from what I remember. But
that actually does not happen at all.
Really?
Yeah, no, like the Jedi are like almost on the brink of extinction.
Oh, maybe
here.
I'm thinking of the first game then.
Yeah, because the Jedi and Sith are
trying to
like
think.
are in full force in the first game, but the second game comes around, they're both
Okay.
they're both almost completely wiped out, and you're
That's
just
right. From the war.
from the war, and
Yeah.
then just I think like there was like some other thing that happened that I don't quite remember. Again, long time since.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what story happened when. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think this is interesting news as far as like they're pretty much going all hands in for these prequel shows and movies.
Yeah.
Well, prequel being like, I guess it wouldn't even be a prequel though, because they're gonna literally have nothing to do with Skywalker at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically it is a prequel, like in like the very strictest sense, just because it is taking place before.
It predates the movies.
It predates the movies, but it probably has.
But
like,
it's not a quill.
nothing. Yeah.
It has no sequel essence of it or prequel essence of it. So
yeah.
I would say this is gonna be their own thing, obviously. But
Yeah, which I mean probably is the best route for Star Wars to go right
Oh,
now. Yeah.
well, and we can like if you watch, especially for the new game, their online game, the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Like some of the like not the animations, like the cutscenes that they've put out are amazing.
No,
and I was like, hey, if there's this kind of fighting in this movie, I'm 100% in.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we're gonna want. That's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need more battles, more lightsaber battles like we got in the prequels, but maybe on a different level.
Well, I mean, the one of the weird things about the prequels here is, there was like a lot more Jedi, but there wasn't like a whole lot of Sith. There was like only like 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah.
And if we get like a Old Republic game before like the rule of 2 was established, where there's like thousands of Sith running around, and we actually have like
it's full on war,
a big crazy war with like force powers going off, lightsabers, just like cutting into people and stuff like that. I think that'd be amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see how it pans out. More news to come, I guess, with that. Moving into our video game news of the week. Sony skips E3 again.
Yep. Sure did.
I mean, they're really copying Nintendo, but,
Kinda. I mean...
Both of them, like, I guess, okay, Nintendo goes to E3.
Nintendo sets up booths, and they have, like, a special, like, video presentation for E3.
They don't do the big reveal stuff
They,
for that,
they
though.
don't do, like, a big...
directs.
They don't have a big conference room.
Yeah. So... Sony's statement was, as the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community, which who knows what that means.
Well, I think the translation is...
We're going to do our own thing.
We're going to do our own thing. We don't want to spend a whole lot of money setting up booths and also making, for like big conference stages and all that.
I mean, they can come out with their own kind of direct announcement around the same time.
They actually have, I don't know if you know this or not, but like they actually have like a Nintendo Direct style thing called State of Play, which is kind of similar, but a little bit different. And they also have a PSX, which they haven't done in a couple years, but they might start bringing back, where it's like their own kind of conference and like con. And, they used to like actually drop some big announcements there, but who knows if they'll come back with that. We'll see.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Like, do you think this is a good move for them? Bad move?
So my prediction is this is the last time you will ever, or 2018, when I think that was the last time Sony actually showed up at E3. I think that's the last E3 appearance you'll ever see from them, just because last year I kind of got it just because they didn't have like a whole bunch of AAA games that they could really show. But this year, you have a new console launching in the fall.
Yeah.
It's like if there was any time to go to E3,
this would be the time.
This would be it. And
because it's going to be the new console the next 10 years.
Exactly. And they're like, yeah, no, we're good over here. So, no, I think I think they are most definitely double downing on Nintendo's strategy and probably going to really pump in a lot of time and effort into their State of Play broadcast and just go that way.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is kind of the future. E3's been obsolete for a while now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo kind of did crack the code a little bit just because, nobody wants to, watch a guy get up on stage for like,
who cares?
For like,
it's not a car show.
For like 10 minutes and like, talk about, hey, here's how you can watch sports on your Xbox, or hey, here's why we're so great at making video games.
Right, yeah.
And
It's
stuff
like,
that.
I don't care. And it's going to glitch out. And that's not going to be the final product I'm going to see.
Exactly. And
that
like,
game doesn't come out for 10 years.
I mean, there's so many like cringeworthy moments from like past E3s, like, just games not working, just like awful presenters that are just like absolutely annoying. And then you got Gold, like Reggie saying my body is ready and stuff that.
Please don't. No, your body's definitely not ready. But yeah, I think that I like the idea of big conventions. It gives a place for people to kind of go and play and see new games and interact with people.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it, but this is the way to go, I think. I think it's going to, because here's the deal. I don't care about Joe Schmo hosting a show who I don't care about at all. Like I just want to know the information, see some gameplay, and move on.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't care if you play the game in front of me or not.
No,
sorry.
like I don't need a live demo here,
No.
And I mean,
and I think they're getting that.
Well, and also not to mention too, it's like if they go the route where, like, let's say they don't show up at E3, they don't have like a big conference, but there's still like some PlayStation games to play there or something like that. Kind of like how PAX, you can go to PAX. There's not really a big conference for like, the big three that they come out and say, hey, let's tell you about all our new games. It's like, no, just go out on the show floor and play them if you like Disneyland style lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. In other news, a new Smash Bros. Character was revealed. So my guess for this was Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
That's a bold guess.
Yeah. And the only reason I say that is because of the Final Fantasy characters we've gotten before. Now, I mean, here's kind of like what my theory was. Is they announce Sora's coming, and they go, oh yeah, by the way, Kingdom Hearts Remix Edition 2.5 is out. Like, on the Switch today.
Yeah.
And then we're getting Kingdom Hearts 3 later this year.
It's really weird that those games are not.
Well, that's where I was kind of going with it. It's like, okay, this is the last character. I was figuring it was going to be this is the last character for this round.
Yeah, for this round, yeah.
I was expecting a bigger reveal.
No, I was too, yeah.
And so I was like, this would have been a prime opportunity to incorporate a third-party character, have some extra games out there for us. Mm-hmm. But we did not get Sora. Who was your guess? Like, who are you thinking before we get into the actual character?
I mean, here's the thing. I've been wrong on so many Smash Bros. Predictions.
Oh, I've been hoping for Goku for a long time.
It'll never happen.
No. Ninja Turtle. Give me a Ninja Turtle.
That's injustice.
Yeah.
But
screw that, though.
But no, I think the one that I probably was going to be putting my money on, just because like you, I was going in with the mentality that this was originally going to be the last Smash Bros. DLC character that we got for this game here. Yeah. It was going to end cap it. And I thought it was going to be Geno, which I don't know if you've ever played Super Mario on Super Mario RPG on the SNES, but he was a character that only appeared once in that game. He was one of your party members, and he was dope. And people have been asking for him to be in Smash for legitimately since I think Melee or something like that. And Sakurai, even the guy who makes the game, he even said he wanted to do it in Brawl.
Yeah.
Way back when.
But they didn't do it.
They didn't do it. So I'm thinking, okay, this might be
this is your shot.
This might be the opportunity to actually do it. And I thought they were going to just go for it, but here we are.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so the actual character we got, Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yep.
Which we're both huge fans of the game.
No, I mean, I think we both gave it essentially our Game of the Year award for last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, this character could have literally been anyone else, and I would have probably been more happy.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know this, but Dorian knew this. I didn't know we were getting another wave of characters, and there's going to be 6 of them.
Yeah.
If this was the last character for me, I would have been so upset.
No, same here.
So, I mean, that's all I pretty much have to say about the character.
Yeah.
I'll let you kind of state your opinion, I guess, on it. But I have some other opinions.
Sure. So
but yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing. I knew that we were probably going to get another Fire Emblem character with like the upcoming DLC, just because Sakurai is a big Fire Emblem fan, and Fire Emblem Three Houses is a big hit on.
Really, he's
the
a
Switch.
big Fire Emblem fan.
Big time.
Well, how many Fire Emblem characters do we have in this game?
This will bring it up to 8, Brett.
Oh my gosh.
So even though I was expecting this character to come at some point, I'm still disappointed with this reveal. And
Yeah.
I say that as somebody who mains Fire Emblem characters in the game.
Roy is Dorian's guy.
Roy's my boy.
Yeah.
But
I was an Ike guy, especially in like Melee and even the Wii U one, I would say.
Yeah.
And he's still pretty good, but
yeah. I mean,
I would just up B.
Yep.
Up B.
Ether.
Yeah.
So, that being said, yeah. So, and like I mentioned earlier, Fire Emblem Three Houses, my favorite game from last year.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
I don't think it's really close in my opinion in terms of like, what would be competing for that honor. But that being said, yeah, this is kind of an overrepresentation of the Fire Emblem characters in the game, because this will bring it up to 8. You literally could have had like, I don't know, like...
It's so weird to me because think about this.
Mm-hmm.
How many Mario characters do we have? How many Zelda characters do we have? How many mainline Nintendo characters from one franchise do we have?
I think Pokemon still kind of wins out a little bit.
Because who do they have in this game? I can even look it
for
up.
like Pokemon, you mean?
Yeah.
So they got Pikachu, obviously, Jigglypuff. They have Charizard, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
And then they have
Incineroar.
They have Incineroar, Greninja.
Oh yeah, they beat it.
Pichu, yeah. So that brings it up to 8, and then Mewtwo and Lucario.
Yeah.
That's 10.
Yep.
So
here's the thing with them though, is they fight very differently.
They do, yes. I mean, and to be fair to like Byleth, I mean he's going
to fight differently than a lot of the other.
Oh yeah,
Fire
no, he
Emblem
doesn't have a
characters.
counter move like almost like every other.
I know
Fire
that was
characters.
weird to me too, though, that they didn't have that sick counter move, because literally the way Dorian wins is he just down Bs and waits for one of us to hit him, and then he does his counter, and then it's all over from there pretty much.
Yeah. So
hey, it's fine, like
it's
all
in the
good
game.
fun. It's in the game.
So,
yeah. So I mean, I was just really surprised.
This character came when he did.
Yeah, like
I mean, if this was like maybe like the first character of the like new batch, or the like second character of the new batch of DLC that we're going to be getting, I think it would have been like a lot more like accepted, and like it would probably like been a lot more, I don't know, just easier to like kind of like swallow that. But no, I think it's just everybody was expecting something big, because people for a while there was thinking it was going to be Dante from Devil May Cry, because there was like some evidence that might have pointed to him being revealed on that day.
And that would have been dope.
That would have been dope. I mean,
Dante would be a fun character to just smash on, because he has so many different powers and
weapons and stuff like that. So no, Dante would have been a very interesting character in comparison. We could still possibly get him. Who knows? I mean,
yeah, for sure.
So
I'm gonna go through a tally real quick, because we were off on some of our numbers when it comes to what other franchises have more characters.
Okay, yeah, let's hear them.
Super Mario has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as of right now. Now those are also the Echo Fighters, I think.
Yeah, I think
because
you're right.
they've got Peach and Daisy in here.
Yeah, but you gotta have Mario characters in there.
Yeah.
It's Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, and they could add more.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, they have 9.
I mean,
Donkey Kong,
Waluigi could happen.
If it doesn't, this is Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, everybody
Bring
is here.
everybody. They say it.
They say
everybody's here.
Except for Waluigi.
Except for Waluigi.
A little asterisk on the bottom of that screen.
Yeah. There's 3 Donkey Kong characters.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's fine.
That's fine. Zelda, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 Zelda characters.
Yeah, that's fine.
4 Metroid characters. Or 5. No, 4, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, 4 with Ridley, Dark Samus, Zero Suit, and just regular Samus.
Okay, so they put Yoshi separate from the Mario characters, so technically there's 10.
Yeah, but I mean, Yoshi kind of does have his own.
He's his own
franchise.
thing. Yeah. Kirby has 3, which they could add more Kirby characters
well,
too.
Not to mention too, it's like Kirby is Sakurai's baby. he created Kirby, so it's very odd that he doesn't have just populated the roster with that. But
right. Yeah, Star Fox has 3.
yeah,
Pokemon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Earthbound has 2. F-Zero has 1.
Yep.
Ice Climbers have 1.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Emblem has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Game & Watch has 1. Kid Icarus has 3. WarioWare has 1.
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear Solid has 1. Sonic. Okay, why don't we have more Sonic characters in the game too?
I mean,
at least put an Echo Fighter. Put Shadow in there.
Yeah, I guess.
Or Knuckles would even be cool. I know they're trophies and and stuff, but
yeah, Tails would be the
Tails would be cool too. Too.
Yeah, no, Tails would be like I think the obvious candidate here for the most part, but he could play like Sonic just because they have the same moveset in the old games.
Yeah. Yeah, Pikmin has 1, Rob 1, Animal Crossing 2, Mega Man 1, which they should have done a Proto Man type of thing.
That would have been dope, even though I think he is an assist trophy here in that game. But
or even oh gosh, base,
yeah, Zero
would be sick.
Yeah, well, it really irritates me. One thing about this game is how little skin variants we get. And I'm not talking just color swaps or palette swaps of existing costumes. I'm talking why can't I play Mega Man as in a Mega Man X suit or
and they did
Battle
just
Network
reveal
suit.
That your Mii Fighter can get that, but I was
I
that's a missed opportunity.
I want that on Mega Man.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is you could easily if you did do a Proto Man, let's say, you could easily do the Mega Man Battle Network skin over it because he has the sword, he has the blaster, same like Proto Man.
Exactly, yeah.
Or X even for that matter. I don't think it would take too much to do that.
No, and a lot of the power-ups that you get in the Mega Man X and Battle Network games are very similar to the original
I love the Battle Network games. I thought those were awesome.
I played I think 1 and it was a pretty solid game.
I think I played 2 of them and I liked them both, but
yeah,
it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, there's just 1-offs or 2-offs for the rest of the characters.
Yeah, so Fire Emblem is definitely one of the most represented franchises in Smash Bros. And I think it's one of those things because you have Chrom, Roy, Lucina, and I might be forgetting a couple people, but those 3 in particular play very and Marth, and those 4 definitely play very similar to each other.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of variant between them.
Slight. Very slight, yep.
Yeah, but in terms of Byleth, he doesn't it doesn't really look like he really brings anything really all that new to the roster, because when we got Joker, you have the whole persona gauge and that changes your moves when you have when you activate your persona and stuff like that. With Hero, you legitimately can select a whole selection of magic attacks and stuff like that. Banjo-Kazooie has the Wonder Wing, where you can only use that 6 times a stock or something like that. And then Terry Bogard has his critical I forget what it's called, but it's basically he's able to do certain moves when he's at a damage percentage or something like that. And this is there's really nothing super unique about Byleth here. So
yeah, I thought it was cool when I first saw it. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense, I guess, but I was also just upset that it wasn't someone else.
Well, yeah, especially considering the precedent, how we've been getting crazy characters that we would never thought would ever appear in Smash Bros. I would never expect a Joker at all to pop up. I would never expected Banjo-Kazooie to pop up.
Well, and that's why I was thinking, okay, they've had a track record, at least with this DLC package, that it's basically characters that are not Nintendo franchises.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah.
And so Sora made sense to me. And that was I think this was the package to bring him in.
Yeah. I think Sora is a harder one to do, just because if you really want to do him right, with a final smash and everything like that, you probably need Donald and Goofy to make that happen.
Yeah.
Then you got to go talk to Disney, and you know how hard that's probably going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but
Disney's just going to do their own Smash Bros. Game.
They'll make their own Nintendo console or buy Nintendo out someday. Who knows?
Probably.
I mean, they just want it all. But yeah, so I mean, that being said, I mean, I might have a more positive outlook when I play this character, just because I mean, I like playing the Fire Emblem characters, and this kind of seems like it's a unique take in terms of like a like distance melee character. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I was surprised, we got an Assassin's Creed outfit, and Cuphead basically looks like he could be his own character with how much detail they kind of put into it.
I know, it was kind of weird. Why didn't they?
I think it's probably just because, you know, what's easier to like make a model or like make a model and like go through a whole set of moves and true. Like balance all that here.
It's true. Yeah, we kind of talked about this earlier with, you know, obviously I didn't know we were getting 6 more characters until this announcement. I don't know what I was paying attention to.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good thing. Here's kind of my gripe with it though. Mm-hmm. Like the insane part, the insanity of Nintendo now, because they're kind of regressing when it comes to DLC in my opinion. They're charging us more for round 2.
Well, yeah.
So it's another $30, which puts the
25. Yeah. You know, close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So after all said and done, you're spending over $100 on this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, when I purchased Ultimate, when it first came out, I bought the season pass or the fighters pack, whatever you want to call it, day one with it, and that was like $85, like just right then and there. So
not including controllers.
Yeah, not including
or the attachment to do your GameCube controllers,
and that doesn't even like get you all the Mii costumes here because those are sold separately.
Yeah,
so
you're looking at $120 to $150 if you want everything from this game.
At least for right now. I mean, probably more like 110. I think it's probably what it equals out to. But no, I think it's. I mean, I'm personally fine with it, just because here's the thing: I would prefer this game to be updated over a period of time, just because Sakurai did say that we might not get another Smash game for like maybe about another 10 years, just because of like how much he went out with this game. I mean,
which is fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to go, like baller status on how many characters are giving us the gameplay.
Yeah.
All that stuff is great.
Yeah. I mean, I do wish the DLC pack could be maybe a little bit cheaper here. Like
if it was $25 for all of it, I would probably buy it. I'm behind on the game though, because I don't even have the new pack. When it comes to the fighters.
But I mean, at the same time, I mean, you can just buy the characters individually. So
I know, but like if people come over and it's like, oh, you don't have this character, it's like, no, I didn't want to pay for him.
Yeah,
you're kind of like, oh, So
fair enough.
But I feel like Nintendo was one of the only companies who released full games at launch, and now they don't.
Yeah, I mean, well,
that was a huge thing we would talk about years ago. Was like all these other people have to release DLC
day one patches and everything.
Nintendo was one of the only companies that delivered a finished product when the game came out.
Well, I mean, yeah. To be fair to Nintendo, I mean, they did not start development on these characters when the game was launched.
Yeah, they're still developing.
Yeah,
they know who they're going to be.
They know who they're going to be. They're working on developing them right now, and I prefer that they do. They're at least not doing like day one DLC where it's like, hey, we have this piece of content that could have been at the game at launch, but we're going to make you pay for it here.
Right. I don't think that's their heart, because I think that they're really trying to make them as polished as possible.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with, but it's just my bank account. If I had money, which I don't, I'm just kidding. Dude, like the amount of DLC coming out, like most of the games coming out this year are DLC. Like you got Pokemon's DLC.
Yep.
And if you want both of them, like strap in,
absolutely.
For both your games. Let's say you have Sword and Shield, that's $60 more you're going to be spending for both.
Yeah.
Because they have exclusive stuff. You've got Fire Emblem DLC coming out.
Yep.
You've got this DLC coming out. Mm-hmm. Like it's just a lot of the big line games are getting DLC this year, it seems like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's kind of like how like games have kind of more evolved into like more of a service and like just a one-time purchase thing, because it's like if you like say like Destiny or something like that,
you
have to pay probably about like I think it's like maybe about $40 or $50 to get the new expansion. That way you can continue playing. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I think it's just
I don't play those games, honestly.
I think it just kind of boils down to like, you know, like, hey, do you like this game? Do you want more out of this game? As opposed to like spending it on like some different, you know, like a different game that's coming out. Because for a while there, all I did was like buy DLC for The Witcher and then just play Overwatch. And that was like, I think I did that for like an entire year. And I was fine with that just because like those were like the only two games I really wanted to play at that point.
Yeah. And I guess that's fine. It's just like, me personally, I'd rather have a new game, you know, like not, okay. It's fine that they're doing these for these games, but I'm like, at a certain point, it's just like, okay, you could call a spade a spade. If this game's going to cost $90, just say, hey, this game's $90 and it's going to come out in waves.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to hide that from us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great marketing ploy, but I'm just like, I'm so sick of buying a game and then basically not being able to finish the game because I'm like, I don't want to spend another $60 on content.
Yeah, kind of have
to finish their story.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's definitely when, I mean, like if it, like there's like some games like this was like kind of like last gen, but like they would have like legitimately the ending of like the base game behind paywall.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like I think Asura's Wrath and Final Fantasy 13-2 did that.
That's stupid.
So I mean, there's definitely like right ways to do DLC and there's definitely wrong ways to do DLC. I mean, I think if it's like, you know, if you make a pretty solid base game and you pretty much deliver everything you promise in that base game, and then you're like, hey, you know, we could probably add a little bit more to that here, you know. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that we're getting more DLC characters. I mean, to be honest, my secret hope is
your secret hope you're going to share with us now.
I'm going to share with the world is that they get up to 100 characters because they're
what are they at now?
They're going to be at 86 with this next wave of DLC that will be coming out.
Definitely possible.
And, I mean, you're so close. You might as well just go for it here.
Man, maybe they are, and we have no idea.
We have no idea.
5 other waves of characters for all we know.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want this game to like be updated and, you know, still talked about, you know, for like the next 10 years, I mean, you probably do have to like give us something here.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we did find out Fire Emblem's getting DLC.
Yep, we sure did.
It's the most notable DLC. We were talking about this earlier where it's revolving around another house. We're not going to get into spoilers because for those of you who have picked up the game and I haven't finished it yet, because I actually technically haven't finished it yet.
Oh, have you not? Okay.
I'm close.
Okay.
But I mean, it looks interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is like...
Is this going to be paid? This is paid DLC too.
Oh, no, of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I mean, this is like probably like the first DLC pack from Fire Emblem Three Houses that actually looks like it's worth picking up.
Yeah.
That being said, I want to get a little bit more information on it before I decide whether or not to pop on it because, I mean, you're essentially getting another house and you have new allies that you can recruit and all that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
So, I mean...
Are you kind of like, it was like a restart almost? Like, hey, you're going to go take over this new house.
Yeah, I mean...
with new characters, level those new people up.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how it'll work. You might have to like... you might have to start the game from scratch or like, you know, on New Game Plus or something like that in order to do that, which that game's already a commitment unto itself here. But yeah, I would say, I mean, if it offers you like another path and like another storyline that you can actually like play out to fruition, I might actually pop on that just because that actually seems like it's worth the $25 that they're asking for it.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with our roundtable review. All right, we're back from our break, heading into our roundtable review. Dorian, take it away.
All right, so first up, Katana Zero. I've been playing this game. I bought it on sale.
Is it okay? You're probably gonna get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something I would like?
You actually might like it.
Okay.
I'll have to show you a little bit after
Okay.
we're done recording here. So a little bit of a brief description about it. It's an indie game. It's basically like a side-scrolling Miami Hotline, where it's like
I don't even know what that is.
yeah, it's a game that came out like a little while ago. Basically, it like focuses on like clearing a room, and you kill your enemies with one hit, but they kill you too. So it's
snap.
very quick.
That would be
and
fun.
Very quick and snappy here.
Okay.
It's set in like an 80s type cyberpunk style setting, and you play as basically a samurai hitman that has like precognition, and it has a very mature storyline that is impacted by your choices.
Really?
Yeah. So like you'll have like
it's side scrolling, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's side scrolling. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I like about it so far, I mean, this is just first impressions, just because I haven't completely beat the game yet. I think I'm getting pretty close. But what I like so far, graphics are pretty sick. They're like 16-bit, which for those of you who don't know are basically Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis style graphics.
Yep.
But it has like very smooth animation. So it's
I
kind of
totally know what you're saying.
it's kind of hard to like describe. You have to kind of look at it, but I think that's the best way I can describe it. The style is cool too, because you have like the menu or the pause menu is like a VCR like font and all that, and it has like the VCR static and all that.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it is pretty cool. Gameplay is fast and slick. Like I said, one hit kill. You're a samurai with precognition, so you have to like be very fast, because a lot of those guys that you're fighting against, at least like later on in the game, they have guns and they can kill you like, before you even get close. So you have to be kind of smart, and you have to be like pretty twitchy with your reflexes.
Gotcha.
And the story, I would say, is surprisingly deep for a typical indie game. I mean, I don't play like a ton of indie games, so most of the ones I played don't have like a huge emphasis on story, but this one actually... they definitely put like a lot more effort and like, actually wanting to tell a story, as opposed to just saying, hey, just go beat up this dude and save the princess here type thing. What I'm not so crazy about, I mean, this is just what I think might end up being a problem for me, is it might be too short.
Okay.
But at the same time, it depends on like what the replay value is, because if this is a game where your choices make a difference.
Completely different outcomes. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have like completely different outcomes, that might increase the replayability factor. So we'll see.
Okay.
But overall, I mean, I'm liking this game. If I had to rate it right now, I'd say buy on sale.
Is it on sale right now?
I don't know if it is or not, to be honest. I don't think so.
Okay.
But
what's the price point on it?
I think the average price point is like $20. I got it for, I think, about half that or something like that.
Oh, nice.
But no, I mean, it's a good game. I don't think it's necessarily a great game. It doesn't like do anything that really like blows my mind or like I feel like really grabs me, but it's a good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, over the weekend or week, you saw a movie that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
But Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, Peanut Butter Falcon. It's Shia LaBeouf's best performance, and that's a quote. Shia LaBeouf is what Michael Scott calls Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf? Question mark. But no, Shia LaBeouf did a great job in this movie, and I can't remember the name of the other guy who's in the movie, but yeah, really heartwarming movie, good story, like just a feel good movie, pretty much.
Interesting.
It's more about family, and like family is who you choose. Once you get on later in life,
sure.
Obviously you have your family members around, but it kind of deals with. I'll kind of leave spoilers out of it, but Shia LaBeouf's character and this young man who has Down syndrome, who's probably at least a little bit younger than Shia's character.
Yeah.
And basically, he at the beginning of the film is in a retirement home. The Down syndrome guy, and mainly it's because he doesn't have any family who want to take care of him.
Yeah.
And so the state doesn't really know what to do with him, so they put him in a retirement home, and he knows he shouldn't be there. And he's really into wrestling and WWF type of wrestling. Yeah, WWE. And so he watches these old VHSs of like this guy who has this school, and so it definitely is reminiscent of like Huckleberry Finn, if that makes sense.
Oh, kind of like the whole like two boys just like getting into trouble and going on adventures.
Pretty much, yeah.
Here.
I mean,
okay.
because essentially, Shia's character gets into some trouble, and then the young boy with Downs breaks out of the retirement home, basically, and it's so funny. There's so many funny lines. Like,
okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie. Me and my wife both watched it. It was like $8 to buy it on Amazon, so we just bought it.
That's not bad.
I heard good things from some friends, and so I checked it out. And yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. Probably one of my more favorite movies of the last year or so. So
really,
yeah,
okay. So if you had to rate it, like, what would you give it?
I would say you buy it for $8 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's still $8 on Amazon or whatever, totally worth a watch for sure.
Okay.
And I also went to the movies yesterday. Saw 1917.
Yeah,
it was okay.
It was okay.
Not great.
So, without getting into any spoilers, can you describe like what you liked or what you didn't like about it?
I mean, it left you on the edge of your seat for some of it, like because it was very intense. Because like, I mean, it says it in the trailer, so I don't think this is a spoiler. But basically, they're trying to go deliver a message to a different platoon. That's essentially the movie. Across the
battlefield?
Yeah, across the battlefield,
okay.
Which takes them a while, like I think a day or two to get to.
Okay.
With how they have to navigate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was some shocking stuff that happens, but it's also just kind of like, that was the movie? Okay.
Okay, so it kind of left you like wanting some more, or felt like you were a little unfulfilled by the end of the movie.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. I just didn't think it was that great of a movie.
Fair enough.
Even with the stylistic, like one-shot kind of feel,
yeah,
that was cool.
How is that?
It was cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like...
groundbreaking?
No, I didn't think so.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So that pretty much wraps it up for our movie reviews. So we're going to be talking a little bit of the XFL.
Yeah.
So this is Seattle's roster that they have.
So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, but yeah, like there's a couple people who I'm interested in, but I think I want to. I'll talk about this more in depth later. But I'm excited after looking at their roster. There's a couple running backs, Kenneth Farrell being one of them. He looks like the most promising running back on the depth chart. Mm-hmm. He had 2 seasons with over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns in one season, and 15 in the other. There's a couple QBs on the roster. I was more excited that Joe Callahan was on it because he's an ex-Packer. He was
really?
their third string guy. Yeah.
For quarterback or?
Yeah, quarterback.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it was like they haven't set like their final lineups yet, so I was really trying to dig into. There's so much to figure out because a lot of these guys haven't played in a while, or if they did, it was in the
like arena.
No, like either college and they didn't get drafted, or they got drafted and didn't play very long, didn't have anywhere to play. And then there was it wasn't the AFL, it was the AAF, like American, or AFA, I don't remember what it was called. It was like another league like the XFL that happened a year ago, but they went bankrupt. A lot of those guys played in that league.
So who knows how spot on their game is here.
Right. And then like they have guys, quarterback Brandon Silvers from Troy. I mean, he's probably going to do pretty well in this league, but Seattle's looking more defensive, kind of like the Seattle Seahawks in past years have been more of a defensive team. Not this year, because my Packers tore them apart in this last week's game. But yeah, I think we'll touch back on this later. But overall, I'm excited to learn more about these players and just really excited for the season to come. So
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for that.
All right. Well, I guess that's the show then.
Thanks for listening, I guess. You know, we had a lot to talk about today, but we greatly appreciate you listening, continuing to listen to us. You can check us out on our social medias and YouTube and the what have yous, but you can also support us directly on Patreon, patreon.com/withnerds. Have an awesome week, and remember, everyone's a nerd about something.
Everybody.